Hello, and welcome to the BKS podcast, episode 13, with your host, Peter Land, who should be seated right here. Hello. And today, I've got a very special guest. I've got my friend, Steph Seckington, who should be seated right here. There she is. So, quick introduction for Steph, and then we'll get into it. So, when I qualified as a PT in 2014, is that right? Yeah, we're in 2020 now, so 6 years ago. The guy who I trained with, Chris, who's a guy from Bath, he put me on to Steph. When I qualified, he said, all right, you'll need some clients and you'll need some work and all of that. And Steph was running better boot camp at the time, as it was called, in Alice Park. And I got in touch with her and she took me on and I was looking after some of the boot camps for her and stuff. And we've been friends ever since, basically. So there's your introduction, Steph. How are you doing?
Yeah, thanks for inviting me onto your podcast.
That's quite all right. Don't worry about it.
I watch it. I'm an avid viewer, but I've never been a guest.
Well, nobody has. You're the first one. The inaugural guest.
Truly honoured.
You know, when you're thinking of people who can I invite on, I was like, Steph, obviously, because we're sitting talking coffee shops all the time. So, you know, we might as well just do it on here. Get some value out of it.
Truly honoured, or I'm a guinea pig. Either or.
Well, no doubt you'll be back on again anyway, you know, because we're always chatting and all that. So there you go. Is that, what's that on your speaker in the background, by the way? Is that you?
That's me.
Is that you, is it? Is that like a little voodoo doll?
That's the model of me.
Oh, wow, it's got the T-shirt and everything.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
It used to have pink trainers, but they faded.
Is that in this? Yeah. Oh, well, you can always get some Humbrol enamel and repaint it.
I'm going to put her back up there. She watches over my sessions.
Oh, that's pretty cool, isn't it? I like it. Yeah. So, anyway, as we like to do, introduce yourself. Tell us where you started, because you've been a PT for a long time, haven't you? So tell us how you got into it.
I'm Steph, and I now get with the programme, which is my own little business in Bath. But yeah, my journey, I started on my fitness journey as a kid. But on my career fitness journey, I started 2011. I qualified as a PT. What led me there was a passion for fitness, a passion for strength training, and I suppose finding kettlebells was a big one as well, and also the absolute dread of going to work, which inspired me to do something I loved and I was passionate about. So basically, I worked in sales and marketing nearly all my career, very target-driven, very pressure-driven. You're only as good as your last target, so every month, you know, the whip crash, and you've got to just keep on churning out the results. And being someone who's very driven and very ambitious and very goal-driven, I sort of beat myself up about that every month. So it was always a slog to get to that goal. Yeah. But then I sort of got burnt out. So it was burnt out physically, mentally, definitely sort of that age of where you're trying to keep everything together, because I'm a single mum. My daughter was at school and trying to keep all that going. And just getting to the point where I got up probably every Sunday morning, I dreaded Monday, and that was Sunday morning. So I was wishing away a lot of my life, and I was thinking, this isn't good, this is crap. I need to do something about this. So my passion for training was there, like, all along. I was a gymnast as a kid. I was very into athletics. I never didn't train. I did all sorts. You know, when aerobics was out, I did aerobics. I did step aerobics, all of that. Don't tell anyone that.
Don't tell anyone.
You have to be honest.
I can't associate with you now. That's it. It's over. I never knew that.
Exactly. It's banned from my life now, but it's certainly fun. Yeah. So anyway, the big thing I loved was I loved flexibility. I've always loved that because of gymnastics. I've always loved strength. Anyway, I found kettlebells before I think many people, where I lived in Bath, knew about them. everyone used to call them cattle balls. And, oh, sorry.
Oh, Steph.
I can't believe somebody's called me. I'm going to have to delete them from my life. I'm very sorry about that. Yeah, they called them cattle balls. So everyone said, what's these cattle balls? So 2006, I went to London. I did a qualification that you could do even if you weren't a trainer with the KTA. And I can't even remember who ran the course, but that was the association. And it was brilliant. And it was a whole weekend, Saturday and Sunday, where you learned the mechanics of a swing and how to press and how to clean. Compared to sort of courses that were around then for kettlebells, it was really, really good course. And so my passion was there for kettlebells, and that was it really. I sort of had a bug then to change my career, and I went traveling for a year in 2007 on my own around 4 continents, which was amazing. And that was the trigger for me, because it changed my life, because it made me think, well, it actually gave me time to think, which I've never had, because all I've done is work, dog. And people always say, actually, I'm going to divert a bit here, but this is quite relevant, about what was the best thing of your trip in a year? And the best thing was I had time to think, because having that time to think changed my life for the better, because it made me stop in my tracks and evaluate what I wanted and how I could be happy and what made me happy. And that's happened to a lot of people now, because they're having time to think about what they're not happy with in their life, because we're sitting with our feelings now, and we're all having to dwell on what's right and what's wrong. And so I think a positive out of this situation as well is that, but anyway, I digress. But it led me to going, I want to do something different. And so that was really the start of my journey, because I came back, and in 2009, 10, I was working again for a sales company, VW, and then I decided that was it. I just had a sort of trigger in my head to go, right, I'm going to change my career. So I did a course with Premier Training and qualified, and that was the start of my journey. And I started a little boot camp in Bath with a very good friend of mine, Dave Bowler. Yeah, who now owns Get Fit in Bath, and he's a very done very well. And me and him started our little boot camp in Alice Park, and it was fun and it was great. And that was me. That was how I sort of got into it.
Excellent. So, yeah. So how's that progressed through the years then? So what are you up to now? Because you're still running that boot camp, aren't you? But it's under a different guise now. But you've got so much more going on as well. You've got loads of stuff.
Yeah, so really, I suppose my sales career and my marketing and sales and sort of driven nature sort of has helped me to have a business on my own, because I sort of one of those sort of people that doesn't like giving up or saying no. I sort of set a goal and then try and hit it. And I was like that with this, so I was like really determined to make it work. There's many a day I used to be sat in the park in the pouring rain with no clients, not one. And my parents used to say, you've got to give this up, this is crazy. And I remember starting my boxercise class, which I started in 2012, and literally having no one for about 3 weeks in a row. And actually you helped me with that. I remember you helped me come into a cover for me and help me. I had some great people helping me. But
and that was because that was when it was in the you had it in the Salvation Army, didn't you? Which was a smallish hall, and then you moved into Percy Centre, and it's huge.
Yeah, it was so small. And actually it's really funny, because now if it was back in those days in the Percy Centre, you'd be lost, because there was no one at the class.
But anyway, so I'm a big group of people. I just can't do it.
So I went from the boot camp to just adding little bits and pieces to my repertoire. But I suppose I sort of learned on the go. The main thing I loved was kettlebells, and I've always had them as a big feature in my schedule, in my training, in my own training, what I deliver to clients. I love them. The fact that I was outside all the time when I had training clients, PT clients, I always did them outside. I still do really now. I've got a little studio here where I am. But so kettlebells have always been my passion. But I added little things to sort of boost my career and my boxercise class, and basically just having boot camps in the park. When Dave left, I rebranded and had my company, Get With The Program. And yeah, I just sort of developed from there. So since then, I've got really into Animal Flow, which is an amazing movement system that originates from America. And I qualified in that. That was a really tough qualification, but a really worthwhile one, because it's great combined with kettlebells as well. It's great strength and mobility together, but it's also great for bodies that are aging, like mine, keeping you mobile, healthy.
I was going to say earlier, when you said you were a single mum, you don't want to tell anyone how old your daughter is because they won't believe you, but there you go.
Not telling anyone that. But yeah, so it's great. So yeah, I suppose it's been a very natural growth, my business. I haven't, being very honest, I'm not a business-minded person. I'm rubbish at that. So I've never really sat down and had a focus and a plan of growing the business. I've always just had the attitude, work as hard as you can, deliver good customer service, deliver good training to your clients, be there for them when they need you, turn up to all your sessions, don't ever blow people out, be efficient, be consistent, send the same message to your clients, and be somebody they can rely upon and believe in and trust in, and it will go okay. And so far, it has.
It's funny though, because when you talk about that, that was instilled in me, because I've got a very similar story from you about working to not sales targets, mine was profit targets for trading firms.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's very similar to that. So it instills in you this thing of just like, do what you said you would do. You've got to do it. You've got to turn up and you've got to do it every single day. And like you say, when people try and build a bigger business and get as many clients as possible, because there's loads of stuff about that now. Just here's how to get more and more clients. That you don't need more clients, you just need the right clients or the right customers who then become people who you want to spend time with. I was talking about the guys about this who I train all the time, and I love spending time with them, and that's why they keep coming back and I keep coming back. And then people say, what's your motivation for training if you train on your own? And it's like, well, because I've got a bunch of guys who I'm responsible for, which is very similar to you. You know what I mean? So yeah.
I really believe in that, and I really believed in creating, how cheesy it says about this tribe thing that everyone's caught onto now. I've always believed in that tribe thing. I've always believed in your vibe attracts your tribe, and I really believe that in personal life, in everything, is that you give out, you get back. And if you believe in being strong and being honest and being open to your clients and eating good food and all of those values, if you are an open, honest person like that to your clients, it will sort of be infectious, and you will create a tribe of people who gel. And I think it takes years to realise that, especially in personal lives. I mean, I think so many youngsters or people sort of don't realise that what you transmit, you seem to get back in life. And I think that definitely with training. I think if you're passionate about strength, and when you train, the way you deliver is your passion comes out. And I know it does with you, because we've trained together and you've taught me so much, and you're passionate and you believe in it, and that's why I believe in you. And we sort of gel quite well when we sort of have our head-to-heads about deadlifts or whatever programming, and it's so important, and it takes you a long time to find your tribe, and when you do, it's great.
When you talk, like as you were talking about that, because I think about, you see a lot of things about like, here's how you need to market your trading business, training business and all of that. Talk about a tribe and all that, and that's what it's all about. And it's like, if you've got to keep saying that, it doesn't mean anything. You've got to show it, right? This is what we keep talking about. You've got to show it. Everyone can say, right? You look at websites, or I'm very passionate about this and I'm very passionate about that. And then you don't see the person, you don't know anything. And it's like, well, just show that you are. It doesn't matter. You shouldn't have to explain that you are. People should be able to see it. And that's what people can see in you, I think, definitely. You know, and that's kind of what drew me towards you as well, because I was doing some training in other different places as well, and you could just see that it just wasn't the same. The whole passion wasn't there, which is why I set up the way I did, because it was kind of, you know, I can then control it myself. Yeah, which is what you did. And like you've said, you've learned along the way and built it up along the way and be like, right, I'm going to use kettlebells, but I'm outside as well. So I'll do some bodyweight training and some suspension and all of that. But also I quite like boxercise as well. So I'll put a class together for that and run 1 hour a week doing that. But then you can get quite a lot of people doing that, because it's, you know, it's not as dangerous as using kettlebells, basically, if you don't know what you're doing. And then, not that using kettlebells is dangerous, but it is if you don't know what you're doing. But anyway, you get shown how you know what to do, then you know that's better. Anyway, a little caveat there. But yeah, so that's yeah. So where else are you? So you've done animal flow. What else sort of stuff have you got that you can help people with, do you think?
Well, you know, when you start out, you do the tendency for a lot of trainers, I think, is to have all these strings to their bow and go, I'm going to recommend diets, and I'm going to recommend, which you're not really allowed to do anyway, unless you're a nutritionist, but I'm going to recommend healthy eating plans, and I'm going to, you know, put together this plan and that plan, and, you know, like you just said, going back to that, my focus really is keeping it simple, which is what you do so well. Being passionate about a couple of things and believing in them, but maybe blending them together. So maybe for you, it's the fasting, which is great. And whenever you talk about it, I do sort of direct people to your stuff on that, because it's so true. It's just simple, works, and it's effective. Combined with your kettlebell strength, it creates something that works. With me, movement, flexibility and strength are what I'm about and what I love. I mean, I really am a big believer, like the box exercise I do once a week. It's a fun, friendly punch-up. Obviously, we're not doing it now, and it's fun, and I get a great group of clients there. I don't want to do it more than once a week. It's once a week. It's something I love. It's just an hour of fun. And I think fitness should be fun. I don't think it should be serious. I think you should come smiling, leave smiling. I think you should always leave wanting more. And that's hopefully what, you know, you deliver if you believe in it. That's why I don't think it's good to just add all these strings to your bow and say you're a jack of all trades. It's better to be a master of one or two. Yeah. So really, my goal, I suppose, for clients now is to build strength whilst retaining an injury, pain-free body, and to still leave a session wanting to come back for more. And to do that, I try and combine strength with flexibility, with mobility drills, with some chatter, friendly chatter. It's really important. Mental health plays a big part in our job, and people don't realise that. But exercise isn't always the same reason for everyone. It's not always to build muscle. They might come to you and go, yeah, well, I put on 2 stone and I really need to lose it because, like for you, a dad, I can't keep up with my kid. But when you go down, you realise there's actually a bit more to it. It's not just that. There may be problems at home. There may be a job problem. There may be a stress problem. There may be an old injury that you don't know about, and then it suddenly appears. There can be all sorts of reasons people train. So I think another massive one, and I expect you agree with me on this, is getting to know your clients, and that happens naturally, and understanding what drives them, because every client's different. Like I've got some clients that turn up and they're like, I just don't like kettlebell swing stuff. I don't like them. And you have to go, why don't you like them? Because this, and because they hurt my back. Well, no, they don't hurt your back. It's because you haven't learned how to do them properly yet, and I'm going to teach you. And 6 months later, when they've gone through the stages of learning a hip hinge and a deadlift and the hinge back to the wall and the hip snap and the recruitment of the glutes and blah, 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 they turn around to you and go, I love kettlebell swing stuff. You're like...
Exactly. My work here is done.
Yeah. My work on this planet is done.
Well, that's...
I don't know if I could ever not set myself the goal of turning someone around from saying I do not like kettlebell swings, because I just wouldn't sleep at night if I could do that.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean that kind of break that.
we're about 20 minutes in, so we'll probably do another 10 minutes or something. But that kind of brings me around to, because what you just said there, you know, people say, oh, I've been to a few kettlebell classes or something like that, or I've tried them at home and they hurt my back. Not just kettlebells, I mean anything, you know, people can be put off anything. Like I hate running, right? Because I did it for a few years and I just hate it. I just don't like it. There's nothing wrong with it, I just don't like it, right? So anyway, there's that. But what we're seeing now, sorry?
Have you been tagged to run for the NHS? Because I hate running too, and people keep tagging me, and I'm like,
people are, no. No, I don't mind do the odd 5K, but anyway, what I was going to say was, so what you were talking about there is people can get put off, but then now there's all these free, like with what the situation is now, and everyone's indoors and all that. There's all this free stuff all over Instagram and all of that, and it's like, you know, do this training, do that training, and you've got people who don't move, who are now bouncing around all over the living rooms doing stuff, and it's like, okay, that's kind of cool because they've now got the time, or they've got the inclination to do this and think like, right, actually, like you said, people have now got time to start to take stock of their lives, and they've kind of been forced to. And I think most people do that anyway. Everyone pretty much gets a point in their life. Like I got made redundant, you left work, and went traveling, you got time to think about it. I got time to think about it. So, but it's whether you actually do or not. And we actually took it on board and said, right, I'm going to bloody think about this because I'm not happy. You know, and we've both been through a fair amount of crap over the last few years, as we know. But anyway, so now when people are getting that, but then they can be put off exercise, or they can see people on Instagram going like, you know, it's all about building muscle and being ripped and all of that sort of stuff. I was talking about this in the last episode of the podcast about, like, you know, about I was like, I had a photograph that I hated looking at, but when I looked at myself in the mirror, I looked all right. So, and I was like, well, why is that? It's the same person, but it's how you think about it up here, you know? So that's kind of, it's people's introduction. People can be put off something straight away, and they can take them another 10 years to be convinced, or to be finally sick of it enough to go, no, do you know what, I'm just going to actually pick something and do it. And because I get a lot of people who will say like, I just don't enjoy exercise, and it's like, okay, that's kind of cool, but like, what about going for a walk? I quite like that. Well, that's exercise, so start there, you know, and build that into your life, you know, and you can start to go from there.
Yeah, and often it's not they don't like exercise, it's that they haven't found the right exercise, the right moment in their life. But like I was saying, there may be something else that's the reason why they didn't like exercise. Isn't the exercise, it's what else was going on in their life at the time.
Yeah, if they were knackered at the time or whatever, if they're so busy and stressed, it's not going to, you're not gonna like anything, are you?
Exactly, and it's your mindset. And I think the thing, there's so much pressure on people, especially at the moment, you know, you've got all this time, you can learn a language, you can become a rock star, blah, blah, blah.
Airline pilot.
It's like,
become a surgeon online, hey!
Yeah, do it yourself at home.
Self-surgery.
You know, stranger things have happened, let's not even go there. But I do think the pressure of people to train, exercise, get fit, blah, 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 it is too much sometimes. And sometimes it's just a question. That's a great point you made of saying to your clients, go for a walk. We've got dogs, so we go for a walk all the time. I love that. You love that. It's part of my life.
Dogs, by the way. We love that Steph loves dogs. Well done.
Yeah, I love dogs more than humans. So anyone who knows that. But basically, I was born loving exercise all my life. I've always loved it. I've always trained. Even as a young kid, I was in every sports team. I've never not liked it. I understand there are people that don't. They're opposed to it. But that's my whole point. There's normally other reasons, and it's about, our job is also about motivating in people what inspires them, how they can find something but not to go, you know, you've never been running before ever, and now you're allowed to do half an hour outside exercise. So you put on an old pair of trainers and go running every day and injure your Achilles and hurt your knees, and it's scary because it's brilliant that people are out there training and doing stuff, but it would be great if we could channel into that and go, you know, great, you've got the buzz to train, But
this is why I like what you said earlier about, you know, using strength training and stuff like that with mobility as well, because obviously you need the mobility, you need stability in your hips, you need mobility, you need all of that. Because otherwise you will get hampered in whatever you're doing until you have that. So you said you use the animal flow stuff along with like your, you know, you've got some guys who you train with barbells, haven't you? And then you've got the kettlebell stuff, you've got exercise and all of that. I've got it on now. Actually, I mainly use the original strength stuff, which is
and I love
Anderson stuff, and it's brilliant because it's the reason why I like that is because it's so simple. You can just show it to anybody and say, just do this, roll around on the floor. And they'll be like, well, okay. And it's like, oh, you know, and I've had people who told me they haven't got time. And I'm like, it's rolling around on the floor. I gave one guy some breathing exercises once. I gave him some breathing exercises and I saw him after the weekend. And I was like, did you do those breathing exercises? Oh, I didn't have time. And I was like, it's breathing. You can do it in bed when you go to sleep and it'll help you go to sleep. You know what I mean? So there's, he's still with me, actually. He's still with me. If he listens to this, he'll know who about. But, and everyone else who's in BKS will know who I'm talking about as well. But anyway, it's one of those things. It's whether you value it or not. And people will think about like breathing, say, I don't, you know, well, I can do it. I'm doing it right because I'm still alive. And it's like, yeah, that's cool. To stay alive, you're doing it right. But if you want to get stronger and fitter, you've got to then learn. I mean, that's the first one on here. Breathe, right? It's although it probably reads that way. But anyway, you know, it's one of those things that you need to be able to start at the beginning. So people, like you say, yeah, people tend to jump in and go, right, they get off the sofa and go, I'm going to do a 5K, which isn't that far and it's doable and all of that. But then they'll go, all right, well, I tried that. I got the 5K, but by the end of it, my hips were shot, my knees were sore, my Achilles were sore. So it's not for me. So I'm going to have to think of something else. And it's like, you can do it. You can do it. You've just got to, you've got to fight. And the other thing that I was talking to somebody else about this the other day, and it's all those things of like, right, well, I've learned this mobility movement and this strength principle, exercise, whatever. And then I've learned this one. So now I have to add that into all of that. And then I've learned this one. And now I have to add, and it's like, you don't have to learn it all and do it all. You do whatever is right for you at that time. So it was one of my guys, actually, he's lost strength in his push-ups because we haven't focused on them for a while. And I was like, that's fine. But you'll get that back very quickly by doing all the other stuff as well. But we're not focusing on your push-ups at the moment. We're focusing on your press and your squat. So that's cool. But if you want to go back and do push-ups in 2 months, in a month, like a month after that, you'll be back to where you were or beyond. So maintaining something is very easy. Building the strength in something else takes a lot of practice, which is when people say they want variety and all that. And it's like, well, you can have the variety, but you won't necessarily get the result that you want, you know? So that's what I like about all that.
Yeah, so true. But I mean, I suppose as well, I don't know about you, but we both work outside and our passion is being outside. And I haven't found this too bad. And I think a lot of that's because I've got a great tribe.
The tribe. Yeah.
I know. I've got a great group of supportive clients like you, but I think we're really lucky to attract a certain type of client who loves training outside, and it is a certain type of person who loves that. And it definitely is a vibe that you get of people who love being in the outdoors and getting their trainers off and standing on the grass, whether it's a bit wet, and just going for it. And yeah, I love doing that. I love doing animal flow in the park where we have to do a bit of a dog poo. It's like a lineup, like a police lineup. You have to and check on the floor and scan for any dog poo.
Good way to keep everyone 2 meters apart, isn't it? Do a sweep.
But I'm really looking forward to getting back in the park. But actually, I don't know about you, but doing stuff on Zoom and training online, how's it been going for you?
It's been going really well. It's, I mean, like you say, it translates very well because we use Sid's scrabbling at the door. I'll let him in a minute. I'll let him in now, actually. 1 second. Come on, mate. Hello. Here he is. Hiya. Say hello. Hello. There's Sid. Hello, mate. You missed me. Yeah, but what we're talking about. Oh yeah, because we do stuff outside, like mainly body weight and kettlebells and what have you, and the original strength stuff. It translates really well, so people can do it in their houses. So I've just lent a couple of kettlebells out to people. Right, sorry. Sid, how you doing, mate? Sorry, Sean's on a call in the bedroom now, so. Yeah, so I've been lending some kettlebells out to people. So you know, and then it's kind of been seamless. It's not ideal. And I'd much prefer to be in the park with the guys, but it's kind of been seamless because everyone can then do it at home. And my online guys are online doing stuff at home anyway. So it's actually worked out really well. But that brings me now to, so we're going to wrap up now because we've been going on for about 40 minutes or whatever. So we're going to wrap up, but you're doing stuff online at the minute as well. So you're doing your animal flow, you're doing some, are you doing kettlebell stuff as well?
I'm doing kettlebells, animal flow. My boot camps are all kettlebell based. So I do 6 kettlebell session boot camps a week. I do animal flow twice a week. I do like an ab class and a body weight class, which are quite brutal. And I do mini bands. And you wouldn't believe how many people don't know what a mini band is, Peter.
Well, is that like a rock band who are all dead little and that? Oh, right, one of those. Right, I get you.
I don't think people realise how brutal those things are.
Yeah, you can get some decent stuff out. You can buy like a bag of them for $5, can't you, from Amazon or whatever. So,
They might take a month to come though.
So anyway, we'll wrap up there. So where can people find you? What like on Instagram, Facebook, all of that? What's your
Instagram, I'm at GWTP Bath. Get with the program. So GWTP Bath. My website's getwiththeprogram.com. All of my timetable is on a link on my website, and it's all published on my Instagram. And they can always just go on my social media, Facebook or Instagram, and just message me. And I welcome everybody.
Absolutely, yeah. And you've got some great recipes and all that sort of stuff as well. So
yeah, lots of recipes. I like eating. I eat a lot.
Exactly. You can't out-train a bad diet. However, you can eat a lot of a good diet and train more, and that seems to be all right, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Right. Well, okay. It's been great to talk to you, and hopefully we can catch up in a coffee shop in the near future. That'd be lovely, wouldn't it? But I'll have to let Sid out now because I think he needs to use the amenities. Bless him.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, I'll see you soon.
Yeah, see you soon.
Thanks, Steph. Ta-ra.